it into the group as well if you can. So, guys, I'll just wait for the record. Thanks, Emma. You're a star. Thank you so much, guys, for jumping on what is going to be an incredible call. We've got Shay lined up. He's literally flown in for this call, which is pretty cool. So I don't know about you, but there's a weird excitement in the air. I don't know whether it's this 2020 vision or this feeling, or just for me to say goodbye and slam the door on 2019. It was a bit of a tough year for me, for sure, and I know it was for a lot of other people. So I'm glad to see the back of it. I feel like we've got a blank canvas and a fresh start, a new way to build our businesses, build our dreams, and change our lives for the next, not only the next 12 months, but the next decade. And I think what I did, even though 2019 was really, really tough, tried to put a positive spin on it, because I joined the business in 2009. So I was like, you know what, even though I had a really tough 2019, I actually had an incredible decade. And if you were 4-0 up in a football match and you conceded a goal in the last 90 seconds, you probably wouldn't be too disappointed. You'd still celebrate the success of the victory. So that's the way I've looked at it. So let me take you back to 2009. And I started with the company. I met Alex, and then I heard a rumor about this guy called Shay who lived over in Santa Monica in California, and I got the invite to a meeting with him. And I'll never forget meeting him at Crew Hall. It was a really pivotal moment in my career to put a name to a face and actually hear his story about how he joined the company and how it completely transformed his life. And I still remember the conversation. Actually, we basically slagged off the Manchester weather for about 5 minutes, and he was like, that was the reason why I joined the business, because the weather in England is so shit. I just wanted to get a really good lifestyle and have some sun on my back, and that was the reason I joined as well. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to bring on Shay, and let me just unmute him. 1 second. So Shay, are you there, mate?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect. Loud and clear. So thanks so much for sharing your time with us tonight, Shay. It's an absolute privilege. And a lot of the guys have heard about you from Alex over the years and the golden thread. And I think we've all been mentored by your message that's been passed on from not only Alex, but from your dad as well, working with your dad for 10 years as well, and the impact that he's had on the business and the company. So would you take us right back to where it all started for you and just share your NSA Juice Plus story with us?
Sure. I mean, first, it's great to be here. This Zoom thing is all new, so I'm practicing it, and I'm used to sort of stomping back and forward in the stage, which allows me to sort of think while I'm moving. So maybe there'll be lots of this going on, so excuse that. But I was 31 years ago on February the 18th. So in the month, 31 years ago. And I was a sort of keen, excited, motivated 24-year-old who wanted big things of the world, but had no idea how to get it. It was in the 80s when Rolex was all about Rolex watches and pinstripe suits and champagne at the bar. That was kind of the era, sort of white convertible cars. And I wanted some of it, but I had no idea how. I had a job. My dad had sort of backdoored me into a job working in London. Job was fine, but it was not going to, I knew it was not going to take me where I wanted to go, which was travel the world, do what I wanted to do, be my own boss. But 24 years old, I didn't have any spare money. I mean, I was just using, that sort of expression you will have heard, too much month at the end of the money. I was that guy. I mean, I was burning from overdraft. I remember having a 5,000 overdraft at the bank, and my paycheck would arrive in, it would go up to like minus 2,500, and then by halfway through the month, it'd be down to the 5,500. It was the days when you actually wrote checks, and you had like a bank card, and you'd write a check, and they couldn't refuse with this checkbook. Sorry, with this credit card, they couldn't refuse your check, and then the bank would write to you saying, "You've had an unauthorized overdraft," and that was me. That was it, and I wanted more. And then a friend of mine, Gary Chamberlain, who's Still one of my best friends now. I hang out with him in Ibiza. He's got a house there in Ibiza. He phoned me and he said, I have found it. This is it. It's happening. And I was like, I'm in. I didn't even know what it was. I literally was, I'm in. Great. What is it? Because when we used to go out, we would hang around with like a sort of interesting group in London. I don't know if any of you heard of Johnny Vaughan. He was part of the group, and we'd all be there in a bar together. But me and Guy would go in a corner and say, how are we going to get wealthy? What are we going to do? And he would say, like, well, I've got this idea. There's this, if you buy a boat in Turkey, you can buy it for 15 grand and you sail it back over and you can sell it for 19 grand. And we're kind of going through the calcs, and I thought, no, we haven't got 15 grand anyway. Anyway, we go to the meeting. It's the kickoff of the UK, February the 18th. I remember I had my Renault 5 GT Turbo company car, which I'm 6'8.5". I was 6'9" then. I can't even fit in. My legs were like, the steering wheel. Parked it outside the hotel. The car wasn't there when it came out. And I'm sitting there, I'm listening to the founder of the business, and I just loved his vibe, his energy, his very laid-back way. It wasn't hypey, very low-key. And I just felt, I trust that guy. Now, it's funny how you have gut instinct. And I've worked with him for 31 years now, and he is literally that guy. He doesn't even shake your hand. You hear about this sort of shake your hand with someone, and that's the kind of, you can shake their hand and a deal's done. With him, he just says the words and it's true. He's such an amazing guy. Anyway, so got involved with the business. I went hell for leather. I'm going to sort of tell you tonight, part of my story is that you can change your life. You can be financially independent. You can have, like I achieved my goal of having homes all over the world, and amazing homes all over the world, one of my goals. And I'm going to be telling you all of this stuff, but I got to tell you this, is I gave it everything. I was like, just put on hold anything that wasn't going to the top in this business. And that's the thing with this business, is you can have those goals, but you've got to give it everything. And I was that person. I was like, this is it. I'm going, I'm doing. And I worked all over Europe. I got myself to a position in about maybe 5 years where I was the number one earner in the UK, and number one earner in Europe. At that time, I'd built businesses in Germany, in Holland, I'd lived in Paris. I had the best year of my life living in Paris. It was a dream since I was 14 to live in Paris. I did it with this business. I built nearly zero business in Paris. Didn't work out for me, but I had the best year. So it was just amazing, really. And the key thing for me was bringing other people with me. That was the bit that was exciting. And that's what's exciting about this, is you decide who you want to work with. And, that's it. I mean, can you imagine a job where you decide who the team is around you? And I tell this, one of my stories, it's a famous story I told many years ago when I was a distributor, working all over Europe, was, being at a traffic lights. I'd bought myself an Aston Martin car. And by the way, now I drive old crappy cars now. That was the first time I had money. I was like, I got to have an Aston Martin. I had an old 1976 V8 S3, this old beautiful car. I remember being at a traffic lights, and a guy next to me who we used to work with, who was he wasn't a nice guy. He was just whatever. I won't say any bad words on this. It's being recorded. But he wound down his window and was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And in those days, it was all about, if someone says, "What are you doing?" you say, I would have all these answers. Well, I help people make secondary incomes. I help people become independently wealthy. And I looked at the guy. And, he had to wind his window down. This was the day before you had automatic windows. And I just sort of buzzed my window down. And he said, "So, hey, I've not seen you for ages. What are you doing now?" And I just turned at him and said, "I'm not telling you," and just drove off. And it was kind of one of, it was my sort of big famous story I told for years. You probably heard it already. But that was the choice I made. I didn't want to work with this guy. I wasn't sponsoring him. I wanted him being his... He had, I think at the time, a Sierra, like a 2-litre Sierra. And I'm like, "You're staying in that 2-litre Sierra, pal. You're not coming with me on the Aston Martin journey, flying all over the world, having homes all over the world. I'm not offering you that." So that was the energy. And it was about having people, having fun people. We created this energy. I don't know if any of you know Dennis in Germany, the dentist. So I sponsored, the Up 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 line from him, and we would just have a great time. And it was all about having fun, being healthy. It's always part of the gig is being healthy and being your best self, right? And I don't mean having a six-pack. Being healthy, it's not about you having a six-pack. And I've never had a six-pack, even though I'm skinny or was skinny. Maybe now it's a little bit getting, anyway. But it's all about, being healthy, being vibrant. I mean, I think it's very important for you now is to be your most vibrant self. I don't know if any of you heard of Veganuary. It sounds a bit weird, that, doesn't it, Veganuary? I don't know when you see it. But anyway, Veganuary, I've been now off meat now for 13 months. I love it, but you should check that out and understand it, because we're in the health business, and you need to know what's going on, or do a little bit of fasting. It's good to know about health, and it's good for you. You need to take all of our products, every single one of our Juice Plus products. You need to be taking it, because this is about being Juice Plus, being health, knowing what it's about. And it doesn't ring true if you say, oh yeah, I'm just on the red and the greens or whatever. You've got to be on everything, and you've got to shine health, shine energy. When people haven't seen you for 2 or 3 years, they've got to say, hey, what are you doing? You're looking good. And these are the things you need to do for our business, for your business. But what's interesting with John, I remember very clearly, John, that conversation we had in Crewe, at Crewe Hall. And I remember John saying to me, so how do I become successful? And at that time, John had been in the business about 21 months. And I was like, so how's it going, John? How much are you making? And he was like, I'm earning 200 euros a month. And I was telling John about my LA dream and my LA lifestyle and this whole vision. And I was like thinking, am I being unfair? This guy's been in the business for 21 months and he's making 200 euros a month. And I didn't want to and I thought, you know what? He's got an energy about him, and he's got a focus, and he's got a commitment. I've got to give him the full picture and the full story. And what was incredible was that I think from that time when we met, at that time, I think within 2.5 or 2 years, John was the #1 earner in Europe, which was amazing. And that was based, and the reason I love that story, and it's one of my beliefs in this business, is, and this is my beliefs through witnessing it, there's an element of luck involved in the short term, only in the short term, not in the long term, in the short term. And what can happen is that my sponsor, he was a #1 earner in Europe for a while. I mean, he was just making mega bucks very, very quickly, because he sponsored 3 people that went to the highest level really quickly. And he sponsored those 3 people in his first 24 hours. And that was just how it was. He spoke to me and my timing was perfect. He spoke to 2 other people whose timing was perfect. And we worked as a team and we just all went for it. But there'll be a lot of people, and there's a little bit like John at the beginning, is your timing cannot, you can sometimes be unlucky. Now, luck over time will play itself out and you will be where you belong to be. But I've seen it with people who've had a very, very fast start and things have gone really, really well and it's sort of slowed down a bit. And then they've taken their foot off the pedal. Or I've seen it with other people like John, who just had a slow start. And that was how it is. I remember a guy years ago going NMD. It took him like 14 or 15 years to go to NMD. Derek from Devon Way. And I had to give him the certificate on stage. And that was actually one of my favorite certificates that I gave out for someone going NMD. It took him 14 years to get that. I loved it. I loved his tenacity. I just loved the fact that he just kept on going. So, there's a lot to be said about keeping on going. John, I'd just like to bring you back in and just sort of anything you want to sort of add into that with what I'm saying there, just in terms of what rings true. And I've been watching you and how you work, and it's amazing, John. You're a real incredible example.
Yeah, we've got I mean, it's a team effort, and we've got some incredible leaders, and you know a lot of them as well, Shay. So I just think, you know, one of my notes that I wrote down was to talk about the long game and distractions. And you've touched on the long game, but if you could just mention a little bit about distractions, because, you know, a lot of the things, especially with social media now, people are getting pitched left, right, and center. I always say this: if there was anything better than Juice Plus, I would be doing it. And I don't honestly believe that there is a product like ours on the market. And I certainly don't believe there's a business opportunity anywhere near what we've got. But I know when we've had a few rumblings over the years. You've always said, hey, it was the same in the early 90s. There was always companies coming here, there, and everywhere, trying to take the best people, because that's what happens. But yeah, if you could just elaborate a little bit on those stories, that'd be amazing, Shay.
So obviously, 31 years in this business, I've seen them come and go and come and go and come and go and come and go, and the latest hot deal, come and go, come and go. And I've seen it all. And when the first one came into town, it was a business called Quorum, and they made a definite decision they were going to attack NSA. And they were based in Hong Kong. Their owner was Chinese, and he sent Jay Martin a hat. And this hat was some Chinese, you know, things that they have, that it's basically, it was going to basically say, I'm taking your business, I'm taking you over. And it was like sort of, you know, it was an old, hundreds of years old thing that they did in China. And he sent it to Jay, and we became fearful about this other business coming, because we hadn't experienced this situation where we were the shining kid, and then suddenly this new kid on the black block turns up. And we lost a few leaders, and there was a few who, there's a few, and a very, very good friend of mine who was one of my really dear old friend, Frontline, and he joined them. And I was really hurt and upset by it, and I was just like, you know, why have you done this? And you know, and he did okay for a while. But, you know, in the end, that business ended up going broke. And then the people that were pitching everyone in that were onto another deal and another deal and another deal. And what was interesting, actually, we had at one of the big events in America, a hat party, and Jay Martin turned up in this hat that Chinese guy had sent him to say, I'm coming to take over your business, that I thought was so cool. But so the first one, I get it. And so what I decided I was going to do, even though I had a level of nervousness inside, just because I hadn't experienced this, I was just going to be absolutely, do not talk to me on that business. I'm here. I'm getting focused. I believe in this company. I'm going forward with this company. And I decided to be this kind of leader. And, if anyone just phoned me up to pitch me and they were really, really going hard, I'd just say, what are you doing? And I just literally hang up. And this leadership of mine, this focus that I'm here, I know where I'm going. I hadn't achieved my goals at that point. I was doing well in the business. This was after the Aston Martin phase, so I was already earning money, but I hadn't become a multimillionaire by then, which was my very, very clear goal. And I led from the front, and this within my team, within my organization. And what was funny is I saw other people who weren't quite the same, and they lost their organizations. But we came through that, we built it back up. And then when the next outfit came along, it was just like, we didn't even look over our shoulders. Then the newer people who'd not had this, you had to explain, guys, trust me, they'll be gone, they'll do their own thing. What you've got to realize is, with this business, with Juice Plus, the Juice Plus company, it's about longevity. Most network marketing companies go broke. Most companies go broke. Well, network marketing is way more volatile. So be a much higher failure rate of network marketing companies. And sometimes it's even they can have success, but they get their financing wrong. So they can't grow. There's so many elements of a business, and I'm sort of been involved with business for the last 10 years, and I was involved on the Juice Plus side and the business side, and I know what's involved with supply chains and all kind of businessy stuff. So you can even fail from expanding too fast. There's so much is involved in this company. If you want to be guaranteed to be getting checks in 20 years, this is the place. because you will. I don't know about other companies, but I'm not interested in looking, because what I do know is we will be here in 20 years. I've been receiving checks from this business for 30 years, 31 years nearly. And that's it. So you can literally hang your mast on this business for sure. It's guaranteed, the way it's set up. We're about to do the whole, it's so exciting what's going to be happening over the next several years. As a percentage of the world's population, we're actually not in a huge proportion of the 7 billion people in the world. And we're about to go and access all of that in the next 2 or 3 years. Now, it's still exciting right here in the UK. You can go NMD from scratch right here, right now in the UK. But what I'm saying is it's exciting, all of that stuff. And that was what excited me. I wanted to work and live all over the world. And, I lived in Amsterdam, in Brussels, in Paris, in Milan, in Monaco, in Los Angeles, in where else have I lived? You name it, London, Manchester, Dublin, and so on and so on. Spent loads of time in, Geneva, all working with this business because I chose to. I've lived in 2 homes for 30 years. I've lived continuously in 2 homes at 2 separate places in the world, because I don't want to live in one place, because the UK is incredible in the summer. I love it in the summer, but I don't want to be here now. I've just got back to the UK today, and I don't want to be here right now in this weather. There's a choice I made. I love being here in the summer. England in the summer, no better place on the planet. I love it. But these are the choices I made, and these are the choices you can make. It's about getting focused, keeping your head down, and stop looking out there and being an example to your group. Your check is the size of your leadership in every single department. Fact. The better leader you are, the bigger your check is. End of story. So, with these other businesses, you just got to ignore them. They'll come, and they'll keep on coming, and they'll keep on coming, and they'll come at us because we have the best trained people. And we're known in the industry for having the best trained people. That's just who we are. So who do they want to come and try and get? But all they end up getting is the weak leadership. So you have a business that is then built on weak leadership who just fall away at the first problem they have, and those businesses typically implode. And that's what I've seen continually over the last 30 years. So I don't know if that sort of answers your question.
Yeah, brilliant, Shay. Thank you. Just going back to your story, I just want to touch on 2 things. So dealing with negativity, people that don't get it. I just say keep your blinkers on and don't look left, don't look right, keep going. But I think everyone who's been successful in this business has been through some form of negativity, whether it's family members, whether it's friends, especially now with social media. So that was the first point. And then the second bit was really, what was the moment for you where you thought, you know what, I've done it, I've kind of made it, and now what did you do next to get to that next thing, like the goal to go to, if you know what I mean?
So mine was 5 NMD legs, 5 big legs. Like now the position's above NMD now, but NMD then was the big position. So that was the top of the marketing plan. So those NMDs could have been the equivalent of president, the president, PMD, sorry. Or whatever. So I wanted to build those. I wanted to have a business that was what I call explosive proof. You could blow it up and nothing will happen. And I wanted to have a business where I knew whatever I did, if I stood naked on the top of a mountain and said, Juice Plus is rubbish, for example, it would carry on without me. That's where I wanted to get to. And have leaders that were going on and doing stuff beyond myself. You look at, let's say, Julia Krivchik now, Krajcik. She's the #1 earner in Europe at the moment, wants to be the #1 earner in the world, and she probably will. And, I remember her when she was just a retailer. That was all she did. And we'd go over for meetings in Germany, in Hamburg, and she'd be there, and she'd be like the best retailer in Germany, but with no business to talk of. She'd have maybe a sales coordinator business, but she could get like 20 new customers a month. She was amazing. And now, and then over a period of time, she sort of suddenly realized, no, it's not about me and me selling. It's about me having thousands of other people all selling the product every month. And, now you look at her and she's got this, this team heart, so powerful. I wanted to see the growth of that. I want to see that explosion, but through 5 legs. So, one of my legs is the #1 earner in in Canada, Mark Hare. I wanted to see, you know, those kind of things happen. I had my, you know, and I also wanted to have it over different countries as well, because you have it. It's just how it goes. You have, like the stock market, you have ups and downs. It's just how it is. It comes in cycles, and it's almost like it goes up 3 steps and down 1 step, and then goes, you know, and the trajectory is always up, but you have the ups and downs on the road, and there's different countries in Europe are at different parts of that trajectory. So I wanted my business to be spread, so it was almost bulletproof, and it was so well spread that my check was rock solid, so it didn't move around much. So that was my big focus there, on that. And then what happened to me, you know, and then I wanted to have a property business. I wanted to have other business interests. But what I realized is with Juice Plus, there's virtually no businesses where this monstrous, I always refer to it as the check landing on the doormat. Obviously, it doesn't happen these days, but that's kind of in my mind, it was about this check landing. So the cash flow that you can earn from this business is incredible. The free cash flow. See, most businesses, I've got a friend who's got a business and he makes about £1 million a year, and it's a manufacturing business, and he's got overdrafts galore. He's got all his profits tied up in stock, because when he's expanding, he has to buy more stock. So he makes £1 million, but he's got no cash flow. This business is incredible. So I've used it, and this was a goal of mine, to build this property empire all over the world. And why I wanted to do property business is I didn't want to get defocused from generating more cash out of this business, because I talked to different people in business, and it was all like, I don't fancy that. What, a load of staff, a load of hassle. I don't want that. And so that was really what, you know, so I want to just keep on building and building. Now, I had a unique situation where the company approached me to become a partner of theirs. So if they hadn't done that, I would have just kept going with the business. Then I became a shareholder with the company. I won't sort of go into that story because it was just a unique moment of time. I had these businesses all over Europe, and, you know, they wanted to try a different approach. It's now, and then we had like a franchise situation. It's now back under one company, but it's just something they tried. But I just wanted to keep on expanding the business. On to the positivity bit. This is a very interesting topic. So you have to stay positive, or you have to learn how to deal with negatives. It's very, very important. So I'm always reading information, positive motivation stuff. I like seminars. I mean, these days with podcasts, it's amazing what you can do. It's incredible. But for me, the most important thing is to surround yourself with the right type of people. Now, I'm going to give you a story. So one of my best friends, you know, he's not a Juice Plus guy. He came in very, very briefly, but it just wasn't for him, you know, 30 years ago. Now, I love him to bits. He's my best friend. But, you know, he likes to be down the pub drinking a load of pints, and that's his thing. No problem. Now, you know, when I come out to Manchester from time to time, I'll go and see him, and guess what I do when I go and see him? I drink a load of pints. Now, I don't drink a load of pints these days, so I'll be drunk after maybe 3 or 4 pints, but I don't drink 3 or 4 pints a night. But when I'm in his company in that environment, that's what I do. I much prefer a glass of wine or 2. But and then, you know, I met another friend through this business. Many of you heard of him, Bear Grylls. So when I go and hang out with Bear Grylls, when I leave him, I feel electrified with his energy. He's probably the most naturally positive person on the planet. He's unbelievable. And when you're with him, you just get filled with his vision. You know, if you think about it, the guy likes climbing mountains, and he's become worth a few $100 million. I mean, you got to be good, right? You got to be positive. You like climbing mountains, and you become a brand name all over the world. Literally, his biggest market right now is China. I remember when he first hit it big, and I remember going out with him in Los Angeles. We went to a restaurant, and I was loving it. I was kind of walking, hey, I'm with Bear Grylls here. And everyone all over the restaurant was like, hey, there's that guy, there's that Bear Grylls guy. And it was when he first kicked it big. But back to my point is, surround yourself with positive people. And it's one of my keys for success. What's the 10 keys for success is very carefully stage manage who you're listening to and who is around you, and surround yourself with those people. And, you know, family members and everything else, we love them, but if they're not super positive, it's fine. I'm not the guy that says, no, kick them out of the way, don't have anything to do. No, just manage, just be careful how much time you spend with them. And don't sort of think this thing, I'm going to convince them that the Juice Plus business is the right thing. Move on. You don't need to convince anyone. We're looking for people like you that are like, bring this on. I want this. You know, we want people like John. You know, I mean, the energy we all had, all the guys that I started in at my time, this, you know, our sponsor is Free Frontline. There was 4 of us together. We were just ripping up trees. And then we had this 4, you know, we all went NMD very, very quick. And we were just looking for people like us, and we were attracting these. So it's very, very important. Don't try and convince people into this business. We are looking for people that want it, that want this opportunity, that will give anything to have it, that see it, that feel it, and believe in it. And it's very important. The other message as well is don't let the speed of your team dictate you. I have a lot of people who say to me, oh, you know, my team, they're just not doing it, and I don't know what to do, and they need my help. And I'm like, listen, no, move on. Don't let them dictate your speed. Right? If they're not doing it to your speed, find some new people. I mean, you do have to anyway. As part of this business, we have to keep on bringing in new people. Do not get into management mode. I heard that so many times, I didn't quite get it. But you get it after a while, because when you're sponsoring someone new, you're doing a few things here. You're leading by example, and the speed of your leadership is the size of your check. So you're leading by example, saying to the group, look, I'm sponsoring new people. But more importantly, what you're doing is you're actually giving yourself 240 volts of power, of energy, of having this new person. So it works on so many levels. It's just the best way to go. And your team also, when your team are sort of being a bit moany or being a bit negative, you just say, listen, I've got this new person, I need to work with them, sorry about that, so they don't feel hurt. But, you know, we're all dependent on our own success. You don't owe anyone anything else. But, you know, it's that famous one on the plane and the oxygen mask comes down. The first person that gets the oxygen mask is yourself. Look after yourself. And I don't mean that in a selfish way, but by you being an incredible leader, by you being very powerful, by you being very dynamic, you will motivate your team, because they're looking at you. And if any of you've got kids, they always say, you know, don't be telling your children X, Y, Z. You do it and they will follow. And that's this business. Lead by example every single time. There's a very long-winded way, John, to answer your question.
No, brilliant, mate. Knowledge bombs everywhere. Love it. So I think just to really, we're half an hour in. If we're all right to keep going, if that's cool with you.
I got hours.
Okay, okay, wicked. So, yeah. The thing with our business, I think, compared to the early days with NSA, it was much more recruitment driven back then. We're very much more customer driven, and I think one of the pitfalls of the business that people fall into at the beginning with Juice Plus is what we call empty recruiting. And you recruit somebody who doesn't bring any customers on board, but they recruit somebody else who doesn't bring any customers on board. And one of my big visions really for 2020 is for me to lead from the front personally and set an example and change my lifestyle and lead from the front in that sense, being the best version of myself, but also being very actively customer driven and driving customer orders, bringing in customers that love the product that then become distributors. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
So I think the first one is it's very important that you have to be, as I mentioned earlier on, example of the product. So that's why I'm saying, you know, I mean, I really think, you know, having these dry months off alcohol is really good, because you just feel dynamic. You're on top of it. I think, you know, giving up dairy or meat or whatever period of time, or for longer, you know, I give it, as I say, I've been off meat now for 13 months and feel amazing from it, and my skin is completely changed and off dairy. I mean, I have the odd bit of chocolate here and there, so I'm actually technically only a vegetarian, but mostly a vegan diet, and I love it. And last year I had 3 months off the booze in total, you know, blocks of, and you just feel great, but also you have this energy giving out. So, and and obviously taking the product at all times. So I think by being a product of the product and having the physical product on you, you will attract customers. And it's most important in your own network when people just see your lifestyle. And then you can, and that's why it's very good to read on health and be healthy. And I keep on saying, I don't mean having a six pack. You can have, it's about being your best you. You know when you look good. You know it. You look in the mirror and you go, looking good today. You know it. You know what I'm on about. It's being that, but more consistently than just, once a month. It's what you need to do. So that's very, very important. And yeah, this business is about 1,000 people finding 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 customers a month, every month, and that builds up. So I really like that conversation. But I think you need to be able to do both and interchange between the two. I know when I'm meeting someone, and you get practice at it. It's like, no, they're a customer first. Let's talk about just the product and leave it there, and we'll work on them with the customer. I'll come back to them later. And then I'll meet someone who's very dynamic and powerful, and they want to know about the business story. But I say, listen, before we're going to, this is the business. These products are incredible. Look at them. And I share and I build the vision on how big this can be by talking about how amazing our products are, how great our products are. So I may, even though I'm talking about the business and what they can do, I'm creating the need and the want and the desire for our products. And I'm very strongly doing that purposely, because I know if they want it, they will see the vision for where the business can go. So I believe in a mix of both together. And but I want a balanced business where everyone is selling, and that starts with you. So be your better self, share the product, share the business. And as I say, it's a bit of a mix. That's how I see it. But I know many people who've built it both ways and done well. But you don't want empty recruiting where just people recruiting, and no one's doing anything. You'll have an empty check as well. Simple.
Perfect, Shay. Thanks for that. Okay, so before we kind of go to the last point, I'd just love you to conclude your story of where you're at right now in your life, like what this business has done for you in terms of, you touched on international properties and all that kind of stuff, but how has this really transformed your life? It's been an incredible 31 years, but there must be some cherry on the cake moments as well that maybe you can
cherry on the cake
share.
moments. I'm sat in an amazing house in Hale in Altrincham that I bought from my mum. And it's just a beautiful, stunning house. And I'm here now, and I've got my own bedroom here in my mum's house, and I put in all fancy stuff, and I just bought some curtains before Christmas because she had like the big sort of sliding doors. But I was there recently, and it's like, oh, it's a bit uncozy in winter, so I've got some massive drapes, and and then you open these drapes, and I've got all these amazing lights all in the garden. The garden looks like being in Disneyland. And I mean, I actually do it more for me. I'm not even buying it. It's giving me the satisfaction. I'm saying, Mum, I'm doing this for you. I'm putting these lights in for you. But, that's the kind of thing you like. I've got an incredible home in Los Angeles that you came to, the house, John, that I love. And I just bought one just down the road from there. I had this opportunity. The agent's a friend of mine who I got to know because my kids were at school there. And he phoned me and said, oh, there's an amazing house. You've got to get it. It's 2.4 million, but it's worth at least 3.25. He says, but the guy needs to sell it fast. So I literally said, right, just put the offer in now, and we just did the deal. So it's that kind of stuff that I've been able to do because years of making massive money and being clever with my money and not just blowing it all. Do you know what I mean? It's not clever just to go and earn money and just blow it all. I mean, I did it in the beginning a little bit. I was a bit flash, so I get it, and I had the flash car and all that. Now, you want to see I've got like 4 or 5 cars, but all of them together are worth about 40 grand. And I mean, really are. I mean, the car I've got here, my mum's that's here, it's like 14 years old. And what was funny is I remember hearing a story about Richard Branson and that he drives a Volkswagen Beetle around. And I was thinking, wow, if I was Richard Branson, I would want to have, something amazing, like, whatever a Ferrari, whatever I had those years ago. And I get it now, like this car I've got, if I bumped into an old friend in a car I drive around here, they would think I've fallen on hard times. Be like, oh, obviously it didn't work out for him in the end, right? I don't care. I don't care because I don't want to waste a load of money in a car that's just losing £1,000 a month. I'd rather have that in property where it's doing the opposite, where it's going up. So that was kind of my dream. I've been investing in businesses. I've got a great business that called the Body Camp. It's in, we're in Ibiza, we're in Mallorca, we're in at Bali at the moment. We've got a pop-up camp. We're opening a UK camp, and it's kind of Juice Plus in a hotel. So it's plant-based. You turn up, you do a load of exercise, no booze for a week, plant-based food all week. We give you a load of positive information. We change your mindset. And I learned that from this business and made it into a hotel where people go for a week, and it's incredible. So that was kind of a hobby I wanted to do that I did. And I just bought a hotel for that in Mallorca, incredible hotel with like 23 bedrooms, and we're just spending it. We're doing a lot of money now, doing a lot of renovations on it, and it's all cash. So that's the dream. But we're on about 31 years later of making big cash. 31 years later of being a leader, of leading from the front. So it's not for nothing. I mean, I work every day and have worked every day. I don't need to work. I can just, a long, long time ago. And I know many of you are too. I'm not trying to make it, but I'm just, this is the thing is that I sometimes challenge, I find it difficult sometimes to have to give you testimonial because it's like bragging on steroids. But I know it's what motivated me when I would listen to Jeff Roberti doing the same. But, so I've been fortunate enough to do that. But I got smart with the property early on. The first thing I did is buy a house early on, and then just kept on buying and buying and buying. And I've just finished. I own a whole house now in Primrose Hill. Just bought up the 2 top floors recently. Unfortunately, the guy at the top 2 floors who owned the top 2, he's had a business and he's had a business failure, and he just phoned me up and I said, I'll buy it, and just did the deal. So and again, but that's if you look at multiplication. The 1, 5, 25, 1, 2, 5, 6, 2, 5, and how that is. Well, you also have a compounding effect with money, and money makes money, makes money, makes money, and it just, it just keeps on going. But you got to be clever with it. I'm interested in money. Sometimes I sometimes think maybe, I should stop. But it kind of gets in your bones. But I love it, and it allows me to do things like buy this amazing house for my mom and do those kind of things. So it's very exciting what you can do with this business. You really can. You can choose your life. It's design your life. Like, what life do you want? Tell me what life you want. You can have it with this business, but it's not for nothing. Anyone can do it. I've seen all the stories. Alex, who Alex's story. Obviously, poor Alex died. A few months ago. He's got an amazing story. He was. Unfortunately, was sent off to, grew up in Bernardo's homes, was dyslexic, before they even knew what dyslexia was. So he couldn't read or write. He always wanted to be a businessman. He was a hairdresser, and he would sort of turn up and he would have a briefcase because he wanted to be a businessman. And inside he just had a pair of scissors, and that was it, and a hairbrush. But he wanted to do it. And Alex always used to talk about me pitching him. I never pitched Alex. He pitched me to join the business because I was down. He could see I was sort of starting to make money, and he said, "Oh, can I join your business?" I said, "Sure, come on in." And but he had his background was just zero business, and he just achieved everything. And I was so proud of him. He died a very, very wealthy man. He's left money to his kids, and he just literally put a deposit down on a brand new Aston Martin and everything else, which literally before he died. But I've got so many stories of people coming from nothing to the top. And I know all these people from all over the world because I've been going to meetings for 31 years. So, and every new person that comes in, I want to meet them. Hey, what's your story? Tell me about it. And anyone can do it. The number of women now, a lot more women than men coming through, as you'll know. It was always very male before. Now more women. It's kind of mixed at all age groups. Young, older, older ones. America's are much older, cross section within the Juice Plus business, but there's nothing for nothing. So that's the key thing. And I always say to everyone, listen, I'll give you all the big success stories, but are you prepared to graft? Are you prepared to have some days where you go, God, this just is not working? Because you have to go through that. And you just got to listen to a podcast, go to a meeting, call your upline, go and recruit someone, and get yourself back in that positive framework. And suddenly, like, wow. And you need to hit a few walls. You need to go through a few walls, and the walls are the tough bits. You've got to go through some of those. There is no straight line to the top. There is no straight line to the top. You will have, you know, I mean, I remember once waking up, I just got on Q&D after 7 months, and there was an article in the Sunday Times, the most credible newspaper in the UK, and we had water filtration systems before Juice Plus, and it was like, these water filtration systems are poisonous. It didn't say that, but it was inferring that. And I was just like, my whole world had crumbled, and I just thought, oh, my dream has collapsed. But then we had, you know, we got some information from some tests, and it wasn't true. But it was just, I had to go through that. It was a bit of bad press. You go through it. And initially I was kind of like nearly crying when I first read this article, and people are phoning up saying, hey, have you seen the article? And then I was like, no, I'm going to get to the truth. This Monday, the company sent us a thing around saying, listen, we've got these studies, we've done these tests. And that was actually why the company also decided to do all the studies on Juice Plus, because no one can ever say anything negative about Juice Plus unless they want to say, oh, every top university all over the world is a load of rubbish as well, because we've got so many studies. And I think a lot of that came back from people making pops on us 25, 30 years ago. And Jay Martin realizing, you know what, I need some outside credibility, not just us saying we're great. No, let's have everyone else say we're great. And, you know, you look at our roll call of all the universities all over the world. I mean, that's it. You know, no one can ever say that our product is not incredible. I mean, just take it, you know, but it's good to read it too. Anyway, I hope that answers your question. And again, I kind of waffle in all directions.
No, I love it, Shay. Amazing. And I think, you know, some people in the business, they do get sent negative blogs and all that kind of stuff. So it's a great one to hear on that point, because you know what, the studies are there. I think we are the most scientifically researched nutritional products on the market now. That's a fact.
We're actually one of the most scientifically studied products, full stop. Never mind nutritional supplements. You go out and show me a product that's as studied as ours. I don't think there is one. I mean, we used to say that from stage, and people started to say, well, actually, now I can't say that as a fact. I know as a nutritional supplement it's a fact, but people just don't take that care and time to do what we have done. I mean, you've only to take Juice Plus yourself to know anyway, and you see that you have the Juice Plus glow. The other thing I want to say as well is what's very important for you 20-odd-year-olds is, you know, I want to be vital. I'm 55 now. I want to be vital at 80, at 90. And that's what we do. This is not just about making money. This is about health, which is why I talked about veganuary, why I talked about going off alcohol-free for a period of time, or for, you know, a year no beer, that kind of stuff. You know, do all that, because I've got young kids. I got married late, so my eldest is 10, my youngest is 5. And I'm going to be playing them when I'm 80 and 90. And that's what we do. We promote health. I love it. I feel passionate about it, that we do this, that we're saying to people, hey, get healthier with me. You know, I'm healthy. You know, I'm passionate about that. I love it. You know, not talking about all the great stories about people who have various illnesses. Forget all that. Just be your best you. This is it. This is what we can say to people. I love it. I'm so excited about that. And that's what you know, it's always been my passion. You know, is that we help people get healthier. We help people live longer. We do. You know, all the people in my age group that are in this business, we're all fit and fresh and healthy, and run and do, you know, yoga, and, you know, look good, feel good. And yeah, it's cool. I love it.
Brilliant, Shay. Okay, so the final thing, I haven't got any drums, but I've got some Juice Plus maracas. So we have a big announcement tomorrow. It's about some incredible changes to the marketing plan. I know what's coming. A few of the other NMDs do as well. And yeah, it's exciting times. And you were there in 2013. I think it was myself, Katie, and Rob. We got to NMD without any bonuses. And then the following month, the Be Independent bonus plan came out, and it went absolutely crazy. So that was like a mad time for the company. The growth was, I guess, unsustainable in some points, but I really feel like we're in an incredible position now. In my opinion, the company has never been better in my whole 10 years. We've got the Maidenhead call center. We've got the Hammersmith call center, 300 staff there. The Maidenhead office. We've got new countries opening. We've obviously got the new products with Lyft and Amiga. I mean, it's just mind blowing what's going on. We've got the new virtual office, and now tomorrow we have the new bonus plan being announced. So what are your thoughts? I know you can't say too much about it, but what are your thoughts on it and how to maximize it and that kind of stuff?
What's very interesting, actually, there's a lot of trends and things coming together. So I want to talk about 2020. So obviously, new decade, and just even the zeros in that are very interesting. Just the 2020, and I'm not sort of trying to get numerology-ness about it. Just more in terms of everyone that I talk to, just in the world out there, has got this feeling of that 2020 is going to be their year. And what it kind of creates is it creates this mass movement of a lot of people feeling like this is going to be my year. So when you go and then show someone an opportunity like we have, it's a bit like my timing, when it was, back in 1989, my timing was right, but I was waiting and ready. And this 2020 makes a lot of people look at themselves. And so when you go and show them something, this 2020ness is going to actually help your business, right? So that's number one. Number two, it's January. So this is the time of change. So now is the time when people are looking for change. And again, a new decade. So that's something else on top of it. So you're going to find people are very, very open right now. Very, very open indeed. And it's really about now, while 2020 is fresh, while the energy is fresh, it's really a case of going out and really pushing that envelope now. And we've got the new plan in tomorrow. I actually don't even know the details of the plan. I just know it's incredible. That's all I know. I was just talking to some of the corporate guys. So that was amazing. And but I don't even know what it is. So the great news is I can't give you any details. They're all excited about it. So I know it'll be good. But when we brought in the plan in 2013, it was just like a turbo booster. It just kind of went boom. So, that's the one thing I promise you tomorrow. I know, because we're talking with the corporate guys how excited they are. I know it's going to be amazing. That's all I know, and they made a big thing about it. So, but even without the plan, this 2020 thing and the January aspect, if I was anyone out there now who is brand new in the business, or it's not quite gone for you, or you feel I want to give it another go, or I want to push harder, or you've got defocused, work like you've never worked in this next 90 days. Just try and put things on hold. Try and talk to your partner and say, listen, I really want to make a change. I want to give this a go for us, for our family, for me, for whatever. You will see things move like you've not seen in your career with Juice Plus, with all of these things together. And as I say, I know the plan is exciting tomorrow. But this is a little unique window you're going to have, and momentum creates momentum. That's the thing about it. Flatness, no movement creates flatness and no movement. When it starts rolling and that excitement starts going, it is quite phenomenal. And honestly, I'm not giving you some story. I can just tell you, I feel it. It was the same around 2000 as well. There was that feeling in 2000, and there was a big wave in the business of this 2000ness. It's like, new start, new beginnings. So I would use that to your opportunity. People will be open, and obviously because we're in a health business in January, so I would just get knuckling down and make it. And you watch even just the next 20 days, the rest of this month, the next 23 or 4 days of this month, you watch what happens, you watch how fast it goes, then do that in February and do that in March. And the end of March, you're going to be saying, wow, I remember the conference call with John, and remember this conversation. And you'd be amazed what you can achieve in 90 days. It's quite phenomenal. In this little window, you watch it, and you watch around you. And if you decide not to be the one that goes for it, you watch some of the stories around you. You're going to go, bloody hell, why didn't I do that? I should have listened. So I would, roll up your sleeves get in there and make it happen
I
now.
think it's about choices, isn't it, Shay? It's like, are you willing to put things on hold? Are you willing to make the right choices?
Correct.
Giving up the booze for 90 days, just going all in on your Juice Plus business, because I don't think there's a better 90 days in 2020. If you're going to pick a 90 days, it's this one, right? From now until the end of March, to go all in.
Yeah, I mean, I just see Emma there on the right-hand side there saying that's what we did in 2013. It was a group of people that got together and believed and just pushed it. And all of you guys, with you and Emma and Katie, you all just got together and you just had that energy together and you just pushed and were all working like crazy. And it just, just blew. And the belief was rock solid. It was just unshakable faith because of what was happening with this, and that's going to happen. So I just hope you listening. I hope you are one of the ones that does that.
Totally. Well, Shay, thank you so much for jumping on tonight. I know we can do it again. I know we can have the most incredible year, and I think it's the year of building. Ripping up that excuse list, going all in, giving it everything, and looking back in 12 months' time and saying, you know what, that kickoff call with Shay on the 6th of January was a catalyst to thousands and thousands of lives being changed. So thanks a million, mate. Absolute pleasure to have you on.
Just a quickie. So I just made some notes today, and it was just some notes I was just sort of writing about tonight, just getting my head in the mode. And it was like, and I heard this at Anthony Robbins. It's, when is now a good time to change your health, right? Well, when is now? I like that. When is now? It's like, when is now a good time through solid discipline to raise your self-esteem and personal power. So when you're very disciplined and you stick to it, it raises your own self-belief, self-esteem, personal power. It's very important because it's like, yes, I can do it. I can make things happen. I can stick to things. When is now a good time to change your financial position forever? Forever. That was the decision I made. It was, I'm going to change it, but it's going to be forever. It's not going to be for a year or 2 years. It will be forever in my next generations. Now I've got to work out my spoiled little kids now. I've got to actually get them working now and doing the dishes and changing it. And I'm doing a whole flip now in its head and taking everything away from them. The spoiled little shit. It's got a name. But it's now, guys. It's now. So anyway, there we go. Just some things I wrote down. So I thought I spent time to write them down. I have to share it. But build your self-esteem, build your self-confidence by doing the things, by making yourself healthier, right? By being a beacon of positivity for other people. So people around you can go, wow, look at them. It doesn't even have to Juice Plus people. They'll look at you and go, wow, you are a winner. You are a leader. So anyway. Go for it, guys. It's been a great pleasure. I'd like to see you all at a live event soon. I'm hoping to do something in the UK this year. I'm off to Dubai. I'm actually excited to be training with, doing a couple of trainings with the NMDs over Europe in Dubai. Really excited about that. Got my ticket booked before Christmas. So I'll see you guys in Dubai, any NMDs or people that are going on that trip. And we're going to hang out in the desert and have some fun together. And let's all become multi-millionaires by helping other people become very, very healthy and successful.
Brilliant, Shay. And we'll all come and see you in Ibiza, I'm sure, in September again. All right.
Boom. Okay, nice. See you then.
All right. Thank you very much. Cheers, guys, for jumping on. Thanks, Shay. See you soon.
Guys. Bye. Bye.